YouTube.
We should have caught that first one.
I think we did.
Good. No, I hope so.
I kind of like to get that little, like,
Which means
what really happens. How Roy really treats me. Anyways, we're on YouTube.
Which means
Make it with Stephanie.
down here. At least I can get my hand in the bag. I don't
I
remember
get
seeing
your
this
hand
one,
in a
but-
lot of things. Oh, I don't like this one.
Wow!
I know it didn't sound right.
No wonder you grabbed it out of my hand with that very aggressive.
No, you pick a different one.
Grab,
Actually, I threw that one away right now. Pick another.
We really hate that one. When
No,
Stephanie
it's
throws
not.
a makeup away, it must be really bad.
I know, now I need to get a new one. But you know what? Maybe, just maybe, that was a whole plan. If I throw one away, I gotta go get a new one. Right? Anyways,
I would never insinuate that ever at any time.
You got Trust Fund Beauty. It doesn't have a name, though.
Uh-oh.
It doesn't have a title to the shade, which you should be happy about. Oh, no.
Well, you're just trying to confuse the living heck out of me.
I am. Oh, there it is.
We're cooking on Twitch.
We are. And we're going to go on Facebook right now.
You think?
If I get my jingle palette. I'm just letting you know. Anyways.
Oh, we're live on YouTube.
You think? Oh, that was beautiful.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 on IE Newswire, on Twitch, Facebook, and
On YouTube! Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and share us all over your world. And go over to our Twitch account and hit that purple follow button. And follow us on Instagram, too. For some funnies.
This is which is how I click on this, and then it gives me this goofy window that you can't look on the comments on YouTube. This stuff drives me absolutely insane.
Because it's giving you the smaller window. So that way, if you don't want the whole screen taken up, like say you're trying to be like working or something, but you still want to see what's going on,
Well,
then you have the mini window.
How do I
So then at the top left corner where it has the arrow that's pointing up to make it the big box, you would then click that. Nope, that's no. Yep, right there. Expand. Go figure, huh? There you go.
I swear women invented this whole system.
And now he's on YouTube watching your guys' comments. Go in and talk to Roy.
Of that, yes.
What did you... Shut up.
I thought I was going to slide that one by.
Nope.
Almost
Nice,
did.
nice try, buddy.
Yes, I was close.
Not really.
You.
No, you are. I'll give it
Lots
to
of
you. I'll give it to you.
news to cover today on the old blower going on. You know, you'll get stuff here you will never hear anywhere else. Who was really behind this whole February or January 6th deal that happened in the District of Criminals on that? We got that coming up. Watch out for the Beijing bendover. The stuff that's coming on in our world today is absolutely something to behold, I guess you could say, on that. Mr. Unity, Joe Biden, guess who he's banning at the press corps on that, going back and forth? It's absolutely, well, not shocking, but his whole unity thing on his deal, he can flush that right down the toilet because it was total and utter BS. Because they are already... You talk about banning people, censoring. Joe Biden's going to be on the top of the list on this game going forward. And we won't have to wait for the so-called 30 days. It's already happening on what's going on. On top of the ban, the censoring ban by Joe Biden, if you're in Silicon Valley, you better need a van because you're going to be moving soon, because you're going to be maybe surprised, maybe not, of who's all ditching Silicon Valley. You teachers that don't want to go through critical race theory and all this training and stuff, we will provide you with some resources that you can combat this stuff. So for y'all that say we don't have solutions or stuff to the problems of the day, maybe we are the antidote that will drive you from going insane in a completely insane world.
We're just going to drive you insane in a different way.
Well, I know you're planning to do that all the time.
I'm just kidding.
I wish that was the case.
Yeah, I know. Ken writes it on Facebook. He is doing everything Trump said he would, going back to Biden's comment.
You got it. And as the first story we're going to do here is it could only be a Democrat that could totally whiff the Pledge of Allegiance of the United States. Very simple. What, about 4 or 5 lines? Kevin De Leon. He was in the Assembly. He was leader of the Senate in the state of California. He actually said he was going to come on the show when they were running the gas tax, and Jerry Brown was down here with Victoria Baca and Mayor Exton Gutierrez touting the gas tax increase and all that. And he was there, and I talked to him a bit about that because Melissa Melendez, who was Assemblywoman, now she's state senator, was saying, you're coming up with all this BS of this and you're misleading the people. And he said, no, we're not, and yada, yada, yada. So he claimed he was going to come on the show and never did. But he got term limited out. This is why term limits don't work. He got term limited out of the legislature of the state of California, runs for city council of the city of Los Angeles and gets elected to that, which pays about $200,000 a year, some stuff. So this is at the Tuesday meeting at the LA City Council. The clerk steps up and says, Kevin De Leon, would you lead us in the pledge? And here we go.
Madam President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Mr. De Leon, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning?
Thank you very much, Madam President. It'd be an honor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, indivisible. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No way. That oof has got to be him. I mean, he totally whiffed that.
How sad.
Of that.
But see, in his defense, I would have no idea what it was if my kids weren't in school. Like, I mean, I would have an idea, obviously, but like, I would totally forget. But if I knew I was going to go up there and do that, did he know he was going to go do that, or was it just thrown on him?
Usually, I've done it. I've done it at the city council meetings. You have the mayor, who's over the presiding officers, say, hey, but especially when I was going all the time. I mean, sometimes they'd pick a member out of the audience. Say, hey, Roy, would you come up to the podium and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? So you do that. I mean, it's kind of an honor. There's no set precedence. I mean, and she asked Kevin De Leon, would you lead us? You've been to the school board meetings in the last.
How sad, though. I'm just saying. I mean, he forgot it. I mean, I might do the same thing. So I don't want to say or bash him, but that's sad.
If you're a public,
but then no. But it sounded like someone was telling him what to say though the whole time.
Yeah,
and he was still kind of like, what?
The oof at the end is absolutely classic, and not only blue. I mean, he knew.
I'm with you on that one, Kevin.
How could you brain freeze? Being the
maybe he was nervous.
He's been in public life been in public office practically his whole life.
All right, fine. He's just an idiot.
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
I mean, how can you whiff that? I mean, that's like all the time. And I mean, I could get it if somebody was even at that, like you say. I mean, you put up Joe Private Citizen or somebody you just plucked out of the audience that wasn't in that, or
right.
This is a guy that, how many times has he recited the Pledge of Allegiance of that? Been to public meetings? It's always that. Even if nothing else, you should practice it once in a while by yourself, just to make sure in case somebody. You don't want to have the all-time viral video going out, being played all across America today on radio stations everywhere.
How sad.
You don't want that to happen. That should not happen. And to have that happen on that just shows you that. But no, Kevin De Leon really is a lightweight. That's why he won't come. He's not only on my show, but any show that would slightly press him on anything, he would not come on. He is not coming on to debate. That's why they use people like George Stephanopoulos to attack Rand Paul, like we played the other day and stuff like that, because they ain't got guts enough to do it. They do not have the tools to fight you to maybe not fight you, to debate you in a one-on-one conversation. Let's put the facts out there. Let's go. I mean, let's have a conversation, Kevin De Leon or anybody else. And let's go. You're Mr. Degree this, former Senate leader on that. You should wipe the floor. You should relish the opportunity to come in and put Ditch Bankoki, Hillbilly Roy in his place. If you're that good, you're that polished, you're in that, let's go. And he will run, he will duck, he will move. They will not come and debate anyone or put themselves in any kind of situation where they might be questioned or that, because you know what? They can't even do the Pledge of Allegiance of the United States. What chance do they got in this? We're going to have Dr. Kelly Victory on in a bit.
Yes, we will.
I wanted to get to this because here's just a short video. Coronavirus vaccine. This is an ABC7. OC healthcare worker dies days after receiving second shot, report says. Here's just a short report on that going on. Here we go.
An X-ray technician has died after getting his second dose of the Pfizer vaccine. According to the OC Register, 60-year-old Tim Zook had an adverse reaction within hours of getting the second shot. He died within a matter of days. Zook's family says he had high blood pressure, he was slightly overweight, but he was a proponent of the vaccine. The Orange County Coroner Division says it is investigating, and if there is a correlation to the vaccine, it will notify the healthcare agency.
We seem to be getting a lot of reports here of people dying after getting the shot.
It's getting scary.
It is. I mean,
and it's sad because you know how many people, no matter how many people do die from the shot, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people that just aren't going to believe that. They're going to think it's fake news or whatever. But then they're also scared to go out and get COVID. So then it's like you're kind of stuck in that, what the hell do you do? It's terrifying. It really is.
Bring it up, or remind me to bring it up when Kelly comes on, because she said, she can give an obviously much more expert opinion, but it's my recollection. She said this vaccine's been pushed out, it's been rushed, it hasn't been tested enough to this, and then we keep hearing these. Hank Aaron was baseball star, broke Babe Ruth's record. This put a video out to, so people are not afraid to get the shot. What, a week or two later after he gets the shot, he's dead.
It's heartbreaking.
And you're seeing these stories on, not saying it.
And it's sad because all these people are just trying to do is get life back to normal. They're trying to do what they feel is maybe right. It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's really horrible.
I'm not worried about you getting the shot. If you're comfortable getting it, like with the mask wearing and the social distancing and all the other crapiola that's going on, or don't send your kids to school, fine. Don't send your kids to school. I'm not, that doesn't affect me or anything in the world. But don't tell somebody else they cannot do that. When the evidence, and we'll bring it out, we got it in there. I don't know if we'll have time to do it, but we've done it ad nauseum, and it comes every day. CDC said there's no correlation that kids are spreading this. Is there any danger? The teachers are in no more danger or dying at any more rate where they've been in, where schools have been open. So there is no correlate. There is practically no scientific credible evidence that said schools should not be open over COVID-19. Now, if you're keeping them closed, you're keeping them closed for other reasons than besides COVID-19, coronavirus, or anything else. That's the bottom line. Hopefully we'll be able to we'll touch on that with Kelly when she comes on, here in a little bit. But I want to get to this one. Because we all know what happened on January 6th. Trump had the rally. He said peaceful protest, da-da-da-da. Then a few went in, broke the windows. We're all going on who did what, why, and everything. Now, I want to put a preface to this. The Proud Boys and Antifa Black Lives Matter were clashing in the streets in Washington, D.C. a couple of weeks. We brought you the reports of that. A couple of weeks before January 6th. There was conflicts going on. Cops were called. On that, they were monitoring the situation. So this breaks from one of the big, dominant media reporting services that's been around for decades, if not centuries. Reuters is a very, very, very entrenched old line. Like Associated Press, we bring you the headlines, we bring you the news. Lots of papers, TV stations, whatever, use their reporting systems for news breaking all the time. They've been around for decades. Exclusive. Proud Boys leader was a prolific informer for law enforcement, the headline in Reuters says. Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys extremist group, has a past as an informer for the federal and local law enforcement, repeatedly working undercover for investigators. After he was arrested in 2012, according to a former prosecutor and transcript of a 2014 federal court proceeding obtained by Reuters. There you see the YouTube, and you can watch that, and hopefully we'll put the links in. Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio has a past as an informer for federal and law enforcement, the video from Reuters says. In Miami hearing, a federal prosecutor, a Federal Bureau of Investigation agent, and Terrio's own lawyer described his undercover work and said he had helped authorities prosecute more than a dozen people in various cases involving drugs, gambling, and human smuggling. Tarrio, in an interview with Reuters Tuesday, denied working as an undercover or cooperating in cases against others. I don't know any of this, he said when asked about the transcript. I don't recall any of this. Law enforcement officials said and the court transcript contradict Tarrio's denial. In a statement to Reuters, the former federal prosecutor in Tarrio's case, Vanessa Singh Johannes, confirmed that he cooperated with local and federal law enforcement to aid in the prosecution of those running other separate criminal enterprises ranging from running marijuana grow houses in Miami to open pharmaceutical fraud schemes. Tarrio, 36, is a high-profile figure who organizes and leads right-wing Proud Boys in their confrontation with those they believe in Antifa, short of anti-fascism and amorphous of often violent leftist movement. The Proud Boys were involved in the deadly insurrection in the Capitol January 6, according to Reuters.
Dun, dun, dun. What do you think about that?
If he was an informant, then do you think he's an informant now?
I think we need our tinfoil hats.
And why? This begs the question. Why 2 weeks before? Were Antifa, Black Lives Matters, confrontation with the Proud Boys in Washington, D.C. itself? Is it a coincidence? Or...
Dun, dun, dun. I need a jingle palette that does that. I'm tired of doing it myself.
That's a good incentive.
Just saying.
What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. I want my tinfoil hat. My kids ruined it though.
Oh yeah, they made
little
mine if you want.
That's right. The world's just a terrifying place. I mean, I don't know who to trust anywhere. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're making it up. Probably not, though, huh? No.
Again, if you had a honest, dominant media press corps, they would have been digging into this back in the day. I don't care if they were right, left, in between, or whatever. Reporters would have been investigating. If you were a member of the Proud Boys, Antifa, or anything in between, or any of these organizations, they'd have been running investigations on you up and down the line, finding this stuff out.
Right.
Today, and this is what the danger I see in the situation is, today we don't know because they're covering things up.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, is this true or is it a lie?
Well, I mean, who are you going? I mean,
I don't know who to believe
records. I'm sure. I mean, unless these are the world's dumbest FBI agents or federal prosecutors, county prosecutors, and everybody else, and court records are misplaced. How could this guy not know if you were involved in all this stuff and you're in on the court transcripts of that, and then you come up today? 6 years later, I don't remember any of this? Come on. Mr. Terrio. Unless this is the world's biggest conspiracy against you. Somebody's back forging court records that said this didn't something that didn't happen did 6 years ago. I mean, you better be doing some fancy talking. You better be doing some fancy work to say that you were never involved in this, because as the old saying goes, snitches get stitches. And if you were actually doing what the evidence pretty much suggests in court records and information by federal and state and local prosecutors and law enforcement, I would not be wanting to sit in Mr. Terrio's shoes right now. Because I bet you there are probably some people that are a mite bit upset at him. And that's his problem to deal with. But what is the bigger problem for all of us? Now, this leads into the question, what the hell really happened on January 6th? We have the video of the Trump supporters actually pulling people from, trying to pull them away from breaking the windows and breaking into the Capitol, saying, don't do this. We're not here to do that. Yet they continue to go in. We see the police, the Capitol Police, opening the gates, letting the people run to the door, run to the steps of the Capitol, letting them in. How deep does this go? And you have George Stephanopoulos saying the big lie, and Nancy Pelosi and every Democrat in the House of Representatives and 10 turncoat Republicans voting to impeach Trump, saying he incited the riot when they did no investigation. They presented no evidence. They just kangaroo courted this right over to the Senate with no debate, no evidence, no looking into what actually happened. John Sullivan, who was in there on the video in Utah 6 months earlier saying we got to drag Trump out of the office, we got to get that MFer out. He was part of the ones, he's the one that filmed Ashley Babbitt getting shot.
That's horrible.
And have you heard the release of the name of the police officer that did this? You heard Derek Chauvin, who had the knee on his neck, and didn't shoot anybody, but had his knee on his neck on George Floyd and the other three, they were like almost instantly released. This guy who shoots Ashley Babbitt, who's standing there, when it appears the Capitol Police let them in, and who was Terrio really working for? Does the word double agent come to mind? I wonder why that's flashing in my head.
What is that? And then it flashed over there right when you said it. Did you see that? Did you see that? That was creepy.
Like I say,
I hate it when our equipment has a mind of its own. It makes me look bad.
We have smart equipment.
Well, it makes me look bad.
No, I figured you taught him. You should have said I taught it how to do all this. It's that artificial intelligence I'm working on.
No. I'm not a liar. Brandon writes in and says he will not be getting the shot. Says maybe in a year or so when the facts come out, I might.
There's a picture of Mr. Terrio on that.
We already
that's
have it
from yeah, I just wanted to put that's the one
We already
Reuters
have-
had with the and I wonder who the mask guy is because the other one isn't doing that. That there was let's see, I wanted to get one more quote of that. FBI agent at the hearing called Terrio a key component of local police investigations involving marijuana, cocaine, and MDMA or ecstasy. The Miami FBI office declined to comment. In the smuggling case, Terrio, at his own risk and an undercover role, met with and negotiated to pay $11,000 to members of a ring that to bring fictitious family members from another country, the lawyer said in court. Like I say, if somebody's redoing court records and knew this was going to happen, this has got to be if Terrio, and again, he is not, I did not see a denial, he's just saying I don't recall. He's not saying these allegations are false. He's saying I don't remember them.
Maybe because that ecstasy. Just saying. I think it's tinfoil hat. I'm curious to see what happens. Maybe it's a decoy to hide what else is really going on that we don't see because now we're focused on that guy.
I think that's the world's biggest stretch.
I think it's what the kind of world we live in right now.
I want to get to this in a couple because I got to duck in a couple here quickly before we get to John KMT and get to Kelly Victory. Number 4, please. COVID anal swabs for Beijing residents more accurate, says Chinese expert. More than a million Beijing residents are undergoing coronavirus testings amid a fresh outbreak have been administered anal swabs, which are considered more accurate to raise the chances of detecting COVID-19, said a Chinese disease specialist. Are you going to bend over to get the China test?
I mean, my mom's watching, so I'm not going to answer that. But no, I'm just kidding. No, and I wanted to pull an image for that too, but I'm like, what kind of graphics do you pull for that one?
Some
Anyways.
really interesting ones.
I know, and I didn't want us to get pulled off. But that's just weird.
You want to talk China, Joe? Hunter Biden, who's the big guy, who's been getting them billions from Chinese interest all these years. You don't think it's coming? Number 4, please.
Ken writes in on Facebook, I bet we'll all test positive for E. coli as well.
In the big league politics, Biden's White House considering banning conservative media from press briefings. There's a picture of Jill Paskey, who's a press secretary, and she's way out of her league. Not only in my opinion, but if you want to you need a good tap dancer when you're in that. She's not even that very good. This is what they write in that. President Joe Biden's press room may move to restrict the briefings held at a White House to liberal mainstream media outlets if language from the new president's deputy press secretary is more than talk. Organizations or individuals who traffic in conspiracy theories, propaganda, or lies to spread disinformation will not be tolerated. Biden's T.J. Ducklow, Biden's press deputy press secretary, said in a statement to Politico, and we will work with the WCHEA to decide how to handle those instances involving moving forward. There you go. You ask a tough question, you're out. Like I said when I started the show, Kevin DeLeon and their ilk, all these liberal chuckheads will not come on any show that's going to even slightly question what they're doing. You talk about the big lie, Slow Joe, George Stephanopoulos, you are the ones that keep repeating it. And you know who put that into practice? Adolf Hitler, trying to scare the people to get control over them, as they said. And Goebbels and all that were working with him. You ever repeat the lie long enough, it becomes the truth. And that's what you're doing. If you don't think there could be something going wrong, maybe there's no Proud Boys double agent story, but we should be investigating it. Congress and the Democrats and the 10 turncoat Republicans should have demanded the evidence. Nancy Pelosi said that
40 seconds.
that Trump incited a riot, that the election results were fake, and everything else.
Hey, Jess.
Hey.
Because that's where we're at.
Nice try.
I know. I
You
tried.
sounded, you just like nail it, man. You did for a minute. But you're never going to be like Sean. Sean. It's always got a special place in my heart. I'm just kidding.
Wow. Boy, throw Jesse under
I'm
the
just
bus.
kidding. Jesse's like a little brother. I'd beat the crap
Right.
out of him every day.
We got 20 seconds.
Oh, I thought I
Aw.
heard 30 seconds about a minute.
I thought I heard 3 seconds.
That. So, yeah, we'll have Dr.
Anyone
Kelly
else, man?
Victory coming on. And when we join KMET here, very.
Okay, listen in.
What?
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station.
That's ugly slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on the Mighty Met. 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire on the AM band, joining our vast audience, video audience on IE Newswire, on Twitch, Facebook, and
On YouTube. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and share us all over your world. And head over to our Twitch account and hit that purple follow button. And make sure you follow us on Instagram as well.
see, I give you the big introduction.
I know you
like
do,
that.
but then it scares me. I don't know why.
We covered a lot of stuff on that. Kevin De Leon, longtime Democrat, he was head of the California Senate, leader of the Senate, now LA councilman. And why term limits don't work? They just go to another job. Totally with the Pledge of Allegiance at the LA City Council meeting Tuesday. And as again, if you don't believe he's an intellectual lightweight, just watch the video. It's classic. And that is Kevin De Leon. If you get him anywhere where he's not reading from the script or following the line, you're seeing the real Kevin De Leon. Mr. Terrio, one of the leaders of the Broken Reuters today, has been an FBI local law enforcement informant for many, many years. And as Reuters is reporting, he was part of the insurrection, supposedly, that was led by the white supremacist leaders and all this other stuff that broke in and was going to take over the government and install Donald Trump as a president, and yada, yada, yada. As again, look at the conflicts between Proud
I don't know
Boys
if I believe that.
and Antifa Matters the couple weeks before in the District of Criminals, also known as Washington, D.C. Things that make you go,
And want to make and grab a tinfoil hat.
yes.
It's weird.
These things, you can't make them up. And he actually said, after court records and everything, he said he can't recall any of this. He didn't deny it. He just said, I cannot recall. Do the Beijing bend over, the new test coming out of Beijing from China for doing the COVID test, is an anal test. Millions have been giving that in Beijing. Are you ready to bend over for your government? Because if with Biden and company, guess what's coming? Maybe literally and figuratively on the whole thing going on. You can't make this stuff up, folks. It's these things can't happen. It seems to get even more bizarre and weird on a Weird Wednesday every day. But as we do at least once a week, we bring on in my opinion, the premier physician in all of the world, and most renowned expert on everything COVID-19. She's a trauma surgeon, consultant to major corporations on all things medical, and even of that, just an all-around one of the greatest persons you will ever know. Dr.
Definitely.
Kelly Victory, welcome to IE Newswire with Steph and Roy.
Hey, you guys, I never want to miss an opportunity to be on with you, so I apologize for our snafu last night.
No problem.
It in fact gets weirder and weirder. Although you might recall, I predicted much of this 180 that has happened not only in California but across the country with regard to COVID. We saw even in the days and hours leading up to Biden's inauguration a week ago, we started to see people doing the quick turnaround. Everyone from Cuomo in New York to Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, and obviously our very own Gavin Newsom in California, saying things like, well, my gosh, we've got to stop these lockdowns. They're very dangerous. I'm thinking, yeah, like who knew? Who could have predicted that? And now we are opening bars and restaurants back up. The CDC came out just yesterday and said that, lo and behold, breaking news. Turns out they think children should be back in school and could do so safely. And the NIH turned around and all of a sudden has determined that ivermectin is not actually a tool of the devil and can be used effectively for the early treatment of COVID. So while I am extraordinarily happy that some of these things are happening because they are critical to us trying to save the economy and get things back on the rails, it is just stunning the level of liberal hypocrisy that has gone on during this brief period.
30 seconds of Gavin Newsom's press conference when Michelson of Fox 11 News, which has been doing a hell of a job on this, asked him the question, the question has been out there all of a sudden when Friday, we were all going to die of coronavirus, I'm paraphrasing, and today you're opening everything up. Does it have to do anything to do with the recall? Here it is at the press conference on Monday, Gavin Newsom. Here we go.
Fox 11.
Thank you, Governor. First, an informational question about the My Turn app. Is that something that people in Los Angeles and San Diego counties can download now in the App Store or Google Play? How does somebody get that? And secondly, a broader question just about to give you a chance to respond to critics, because the critics are saying this online, that this decision today comes amidst a recall campaign, comes amidst lawsuits, and they say that the timing on this is arbitrary and convenient based off of that. I want to give you a chance to respond to people that are saying that.
Yeah, that's just complete, utter nonsense. So let's just dispense with that fundamental, foundationally nonsense. So that's number one. Number two, take a look at the website. You go, just if you Google.
So there you go. Does Gavin Newsom have any credibility? If he had a slight bit of credibility left, Monday, he not only flushed it down the toilet, I don't see how anyone could ever believe anything that comes out of that man's mouth.
Quite right, Roy, and obviously it is quite transparent that this is entirely related to the pending recall. I understand that they hit the 1 million signature mark, so it is very, very likely that this is going to make it to the upcoming ballot, and Newsom knows that. What I find really stunning is that they are willing to, whenever it's convenient for them, they decide instead of actually using real data, they will use a model. They'll insert a model. So that's my favorite. They say, and that's what happened when they had actually collected data on the impact of outdoor dining on the spread of COVID. And as you well recall, they found that there was really no impact whatsoever. And in fact, outdoor dining was like number 12 on a list of all the places that you could actually get COVID. So instead of using that real data, the actual factual scientific numbers they had collected, they said, oh, the heck with that, let's insert a model. So now they've done the same thing, and they are using this model as a way to come up with some very, very complex calculation and saying, Yes, see, that's why we've reopened everything, because we've done this predictive modeling that shows that ICU capacity is going to all of a sudden open up, and we're not going to be overwhelmed, and it's not all doom and gloom. And when you look at actually how they did this calculation, it is some unbelievable gobbledygook of new math, that takes into account the phase of the moon and how many days are in the month and all kinds of other crazy things. It's silliness, and if they think that people are believing it, and if they think that Californians are actually buying it, they're crazy. I will tell you, a lot of people, probably like me, although they see the absolute hypocrisy of it, are saying, look, the bottom line is, I'm happy he's doing it for whatever reason he's doing it. So while I'm critical of his abject hypocrisy and the joke that he has made of his credibility, I'm happy that for whatever reason he's decided to try to back off on some of these ridiculous lockdowns.
It is, and you go with that. I mean, since November, Thanksgiving, you're going to kill your family if you invite members over at Christmas. We're all going to die if we don't wear masks and stay at home and don't go anywhere and da-da-da-da-da. Monday, when the recall campaign got over 1.25 million signatures of the 1.5 million they need, and they still have about 2 months left to do that, all of a sudden we're doing course, like you said, on modeling, and their modeling has been so far off the chart wrong in 9-10 months. And now all of a sudden their modeling is all of a sudden right. We can open this stuff on a projection that maybe the caseload will go down in 4 months, when we were telling you just last Friday everything's hard. Armageddon's coming on this.
Well, and one of the things that, I don't think we've really talked about on the show in the past, Roy, but it's really important to point out is people who don't spend their lives reading scientific studies and scientific articles and looking at scientific models might not realize that when you look at a model, when you read an article about a model, or you read a study that's based on a model, the important thing... The important thing for a layperson to do is to look at what the assumptions are, because models are always based on assumptions. So, for example, many people throw up this recent study or articles about asymptomatic spread, and they say this article showed that asymptomatic spread accounted for 50% of all COVID cases. And what I try to point out is this wasn't a study. It's an article that was based on a model. And in that model, on the asymptomatic spread, for example, one of their assumptions was that people who are asymptomatic are 75% as likely to spread COVID as somebody who's symptomatic. Well, where the heck did that number come from? 75%. So in other words, if you're sick and have a fever and a cough, you're absolutely, able to spread it. But if you don't have any symptoms at all, you're 3/4 as likely to spread it. When the point is that when people come up with these assumptions on which they base models, whether it's ICU capacity or spread in outdoor dining, the models have to be based on assumptions that are actually factual, based in science, based in some sort of level of security, that we have some assurance that these are factual. And I will tell you, the state of California has done a remarkable job of womping up models that have been, as you said, wrong from the very beginning.
Yeah, I have no, I don't, how could we get in a worse bizarro world than we're sitting in right now? I mean, it seems like, again, you think wake up and this bad dream is all going to be over, and it's, we're all going to, we can watch.
That would be nice.
We could watch Stephanie's kitten videos and be all happy all the time, and it's just like that. I mean, you pointed it out, and I have and just put number 4 up here a little for a second. BBC News, COVID, teachers not at higher risk of death than average. Then why in the hell are the schools closed?
Well, right. And then on top of that, Roy, the teachers' unions, and I find this really objectionable, the teachers' unions elbowed their way to the front of the line on the vaccine priority list. And in places like Las Vegas, they nudged their way in. They got to the front of the line by claiming that they were in harm's way and that they absolutely should be more highly prioritized than other groups, including healthcare workers and people under the age of 65 who might have comorbidities. So they got to the front of the line and are getting vaccinated, and yet they still are refusing to go back to school. So to go back to teach in person. So it just goes to show you this had nothing to do with trying to get back to work. They are interested in going back to work. So these things aren't happening just in the state of California. This kind of behavior is happening all across the country. The hypocrisy, the doubling down. I just heard yesterday Fauci said it's better to wear 2 masks than 1. For the love of God, are you kidding me? I mean, seriously,
I missed that one.
One mask was bad enough. That's stupidity based on absolutely no credible science. Now we're going to wear 2 because that's going to. Why stop at 2? Why not 5? I don't know, 8. But what's the magic number?
You mentioned the mask thing, and I keep hearing this. A lot of people. That seems to be the mantra now. Is well, none of this others, but you got to wear the mask. You got to social distance. That's how we get out of this. They're kind of sweeping everything out of the. We played a report earlier, and we've been seeing this. And I know you've warned about the rush out with this vaccine and everything of that. And on top of that, healthcare workers are dying. So Hank Aaron was making a video of that and recently passed away. 2 weeks ago, he got a shot and was making a video saying, "Oh, it's safe to take the vaccine." Yada yada yada. 2 weeks later, he's dead. On that. On top of that, plus there's a new study out, I think it was Merck that came out and said, hey, we worked on a vaccine, we're dumping it, an overall vaccine, because you know what? Just letting it work its natural course seems to be, in our opinion, the way I read their report, seems to be working much better than any of the vaccines they came up with or the ones that are out there. What say you?
That's exactly what Merck concluded. Merck dropped their efforts to get a vaccine to market. They were not seeing the antibody response that they wanted to see from their vaccines, and what they were seeing instead was that people were doing better simply by getting the virus and recovering and developing natural immunity on their own. I think, right now, as everyone knows, we've got 2 particular vaccines that we're using, the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, both of which are those messenger RNA vaccines. They have not been without some significant adverse reactions right out of the box, and it remains to be seen what kinds of downstream adverse effects we might have. Johnson & Johnson is likely to get theirs to market based, again, not FDA approved. It will not be FDA. The Johnson & Johnson one, like Moderna and Pfizer, will not be FDA approved. It will be used under an emergency use authorization. But the Johnson & Johnson vaccine uses the more traditional, more tried and true vaccine technology, which means it's not a messenger RNA. It actually is based on using an adenovirus, a different type of a virus, to carry a portion of COVID-19, the COVID-19 virus, into your body so that your body will see it and develop antibodies to it. That's the traditional technology that's used, for example, in the meningitis vaccine, in the pneumonia vaccine. So I have a lot higher level of comfort in that technology, at least. But at this point, people are lining up and rolling up their sleeves for the first 2, the mRNA ones. So we should have an adequate number of people who will have received it, and we will know before too long what some of those downstream possible adverse effects are.
Scary. Okay, Stephen writes in, and he wanted some last-minute advice on getting the vaccine. How long after the shots are you at risk of getting COVID? And are you contagious to others just by getting the vaccine?
2 good questions. I'll take the second one first. You are not at risk of spreading COVID. You do not become contagious in any way. Certainly the mRNA vaccines, meaning the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine, you aren't even getting, the COVID, there's no COVID virus there at all. so there's absolutely zero chance you can pass it on. Same thing with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It takes anywhere from 5 to 10 days for you to develop antibodies in response to those vaccines. It would be extraordinarily unlikely for someone to get the vaccine and then contract COVID, because very quickly your body is going to start to mount an immune response. I strongly recommend that people who have already had COVID and already have antibodies, that they are people who should really wait a little bit of time. I wouldn't be lining up too soon, meaning in the next 9 to 12 months if you've already had and recovered from COVID, because you have antibodies, you have immunity, and we simply do not know what kind of impact the vaccine is going to have on those people who already have developed antibodies. So those folks, I think, should wait some time, get some more data behind us, and see what happens and what other vaccines might come out to market before you get in line for that one.
That is some great advice, and thank you. I appreciate you answering that.
It's something else. I mean, it just seems like, was hoping in 2021 this thing would slow down, or we would get a little sanity to it, and it seems like the insanities went on the exponential rate upward. Dr. Kelly Victory, thanks for being on. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds great.
Thank
Anytime.
you. Good one.
Oh man, it's just like and it takes a lot for me, but this is almost
what takes a lot for you
to get me to the point where I'm just not believing what's going on, because I've seen a lot of this stuff go on. It's just like, what else in this whole thing can crop up on it? It's like the unreal of unreal.
It's unreal. We need tinfoil hats. No.
What?
No. You know what we need? Here you guys go. You're welcome. That's what we need.
You finally got the kitten videos.
I got the kitten videos. That's Roy in the morning.
Of that. No, there you go. I mean, what else can you say? Cat chasing. That's apropos. Cat. Cat chasing her tail. Boy, if we could just get to that. Now
that's me and Roy. Terry most shows. Y'all just don't see that part.
That. I want to get to a couple things real quick on the.
I'll come up with. Wait, let me pause it because it's still playing.
It's still playing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do that.
Okay, there you go.
That. Wanted to do that on the tech deal, and there's an Axios article there. Even not only are people leaving Silicon Valley, and there is confirmation on that per the article in Axios, that many of the heads of Silicon Valley are actually starting to support the recall effort of Gavin Newsom. And you know what? Since we kicked out manufacturing in the 80s and 90s, and that was our bread and butter, the aerospace industry, everything else, the only thing that's been saving California's bacon is the high-tech industry and up in Silicon Valley. If they bail out, not only that are we in a heap of trouble on that. Of that. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to give an update on the big unemployment story that broke yesterday, the audit that says we're down $31 billion in fraud paid out in the last 9 months. On top of the $114 billion total claims that they pay, total money they paid out on top of that, just in the last 9 or 10 months over COVID, when our whole general fund budget was $120 billion. Assemblymember Tom Lackey, he's up in the Palmdale area, I heard a report from him. He actually started in September on this stuff. Constituents were saying, hey, we're getting these cards from unemployment sent to our address in a name we don't know and a person we've never heard, and he's getting, I don't know, tens, hundred thousands of them. A assemblyman walks up with these cards to the unemployment department of the state of California and cannot get past the guard. He leaves the cards and the evidence that his constituents are sending him at the front gate. They have a hearing with the head of the now just recently retired unemployment development official, and she's running again the tap dance routine. This is an assemblyman who says, what in the heck is going on? I have constituents that are on unemployment or not getting their benefits. I'm getting reports up the yin-yang of people doing that. And what, according to my understanding, will confirm this, I'm not 100% sure, but if I heard it right, what people would do is they would just pick an address or something, write it down on that, and then walk up, because they would walk up to the door and say, oh, there was a mistake. They said, do you have my card or whatever? And a lot of people willingly hand, oh yeah, we were wondering what was going on. Here's your card.
Tinfoil hat stuff.
I wish it was that. I wish it was tinfoil hat. I mean, this is...
No, the world is a freaking conspiracy right now. That's what I'm saying.
It's come unhinged.
It's going insane.
We'll try. I'm going to try and get tomorrow with Tom Lackey's office, see if we can get him on either tomorrow or Friday or something to tell his story of that. One thing, and I wanted to do this real quick, counterweight. We've been telling you, and Kelly Victory mentioned it, of the teachers' unions that are, getting in front of the line of the COVID vaccine, especially in Las Vegas. When we put the report yesterday of the suicide rate, hey, get the kids back in school of that, and the teachers still refuse to go back to class. Go to Counterweight. Counterweight is a site, if you don't want to take, or you do not believe in this stuff, white fragility and critical race theory and weaponizing whiteness and all this other stuff that they've been touting. And Joe Biden rescinded that document. The Trump said, this is ridiculous, this is stupid. We're not going to force our people to do this, our federal employees or anything. Joe Biden executive ordered it back out. Go to Counterweight if you want to counter the madness that's going on in our school system, teachers. There you go. Now you have reinforcement backup to do this. We'll be back tomorrow.
Thank you, Roy, for providing that.
We'll be back tomorrow on, well, I don't know, Tumultuous Thursday or whatever it is.
Tamale Thursday.
Tamale Thursday.
I'm
I like
hungry.
That one better. So am I. Till then,
we're gone. Ow.
The proceeding was a